And how important that investment is across your whole career. I'm coming to appreciate much more as a federal employee now. The importance of succession planning and thinking about this from a very different light. It's not just early in your career investing in developing people, but thinking about the different phases of your career and how people need development through every one of those phases. I acutely feel that now.
Well, there's a lot of change.
There are a lot of changes, and we're about to see a whole lot more as well with imminent retirements and those sorts of things, and who has that knowledge base. It's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of managers are so focused on the work they're there to do and don't remember or don't feel like they have the time, or it feels like it's extra to spend time developing your staff or developing leaders. And yet that's so absolutely essential to what we're there to do.
We are having situations where people in their positions are fearful of loss of work. And when you're developing people, but yet what they're really worried about is, am I going to be able to cover the checks this month? Because I heard that pink slips or layoff notices may come. Furloughs. The organization I just left, a university setting, we were experiencing furloughs. These kinds of fears are rational, they're reasonable, sadly reasonable, and they are cyclical. And so that means that in the life of a young supervisor listening to this tape, she or he might be thinking, well, hopefully I won't have to deal with that again. It'll just be this bad stuff in 2009, 10, 11, and then it'll all go forward. It is cyclical, and some of the skills that we've talked about today hopefully will have things to do with how you treat yourself and others, so that when, as you said earlier, Holly, the bad times come, people can fall back on more than just an empty checkbook. I think there's value in these kinds of discussions about developing people for the long range, as well as for the now.
Well, I think for developing people too, Kay, I mean, I'm not sure if this is quite a leap or not, but what I was thinking, it was where my mind went, is that I see it as helping people to self-actualize and learning some habits of being a professional that can help you do that, and one of them, and modeling those, and some of that has to do with self-reflection, and it's something that I think some people do more naturally than others. Some people have to really practice and build in some strategies to discipline themselves, but in doing that, if you make if you have people help you, or we all help each other, make a lifelong part of our professional behavior, I think we can see how many different skills we have and what different things we acquire in the context of our jobs, and that we don't just think of ourselves as our title or our function within that organization, but how these different skills and things I do can be redirected to other actual paying jobs and careers, helps take some of that fear away. So, for example, when I worked for the Association of MCH Programs, we were small, had not much money, and we staff of, I don't know what point, but beginning when we were a staff of 4, I think, plan these big, Laura used to come, plan these conferences, and not as big as they are today, but quite a few hundred people, and, the hotel negotiations, all this stuff, and, as number 2, I got to lucky person to learn how to do this, but, I have to tell, I can't tell you how many times I've said, with some sincerity, if I had to, I could be an events manager, or, not what I wanted to do, but it would put money in the bank, or wherever I wanted to put it, maybe banks, not the place. But it's somewhere, but, and I think about that also relating to, trying to help my employees say, well, you want to learn a certain thing. It may not be exactly germane, but helping people to do some of that that's important to them or may seem a little bit tangential. Not only do you get a little bit quid pro quo out of it, but they get something that's going to give them more confidence as, just some society, and that may be quite a leap. But
I think it's excellent.
Well, I think it's true. I mean, I think in the times economic downturns, one of the things we see a lot is people pulling back on development that the first things to get cut are training budgets or travel to outside conferences to learn new things or network, or even to hire new people. And so you have a hiring freeze. And all that does is really perpetuate or keep you where you're at. In these times where you're so challenged, to not be able to get out and learn new things or to hire people that might have a different way of looking at things seems so counterintuitive to me. And yet that's the first thing that gets chopped. And I wish I had a solution to it, because obviously you want to protect people's jobs, but to have people just hunker down and not focus on doing things differently or learning new skills or being able to network with colleagues or travel to a mentor's conference or other things like that just seems so short-sighted to me.